Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. It's Richie and Jack, and today we are going to be breaking down the New York Jets draft pick last night. Old McDonald had a farm. Welcome to the Jets, Will McDonald.
I love it,
Let's
man.
go, baby. Will McDonald IV is your newest member of the New York Jets, and I'm excited to break it all down. I know that this pick isn't popular amongst the fan base, but I think the only reason why it's not popular is because no one really expected it and no one really knew, because when you dive deep into the prospect that Will McDonald is, and you know the philosophy of Robert Saleh, and you know what the scheme is all about to get to the quarterback, this was a pretty darn good pick. And I know that people wanted offensive tackle. Offensive tackle wasn't available. All four of them were gone. The Jets go with their best player available on their board, Will McDonald. Jack, how you doing, my man? How you feeling after last night? What's your overall take, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. First of all, always a pleasure. And secondly, yeah, man, I like the pick a lot. I did, I'm not going to lie. I had no idea who Will McDonald was when the Jets drafted him. But obviously, you do your research right away. The guy looks like a beast. I like the pick. I like going edge. I know a lot of fans are against it. I don't really understand why. All four offensive tackles were off the board. There was no one else really worth taking at that slot. In terms of an offensive lineman. I understand a lot of people are saying, what about JSN, or what about even, trading down if all of your offensive tackles are gone. I love what they did here, taking a dynamic player like Will McDonald, who's just going to be another piece to this defense. This defense that, once again, we know likes to rotate guys in and out consistently a lot. So I think, obviously we'll get more in depth into the type of player that Will McDonald is, but just in terms of their pick last night, I'm very happy with it. And, I don't really understand why so many people are mad about it. I love it.
Yeah, man. And listen, you saw the San Francisco 49ers defense last year. I mean, we're trying to become that defense. It's not like the Jets defense wasn't close to what they did, but what made the San Francisco 49ers defense so good last year was their takeaways. And you know what Will McDonald excels at? He had 10 forced fumbles against the quarterback spot. This guy has freakishly long arms. He is an agility guy that has just really unique bend, athleticism through the charts. I mean, this guy, athletically speaking, is unreal. And they're really thinking in the long term with that edge rusher spot. And if you look at what Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas had to say after the draft last night, they're expecting to have a lot of leads this year with Aaron Rodgers and the offense, and they're content with how the weapons look. And they want closers, fresh blood on the field at all times. We know that the Jets like a deep rotation at that defensive line spot, and now we have a plethora of guys where it doesn't matter. It's a 10-deep defensive line rotation. They want all 10 of those guys to be able to get to the quarterback and make a play. And Will McDonald IV is the next man. We got Will McDonald now, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens, Bryce Huff, and then don't even forget the guys that can kick inside. Will McDonald is also a player that can kick inside, even though that you look at his physicality and his body type, it doesn't really look like he could be. But yeah, he's that much of a versatile weapon for the New York Jets. A lot of draft experts, by the way, we're raving about Will McDonald. Like, wow, the Jets got Will McDonald. And then we have the fan base like, oh, well, I didn't know who he is. I wanted this guy, so he sucks. Like, you guys got to realize that the fans, we as fans only know so much. I'm putting my faith in draft experts over any fan in the chat. So no offense to you guys. But I've seen Mel Kiper say, wow, the Jets landed an absolute stud. He's one of my favorite edge rushers in this draft. Chris Sims was raving about him. Joe Douglas. Like, it's just something that gets me hyped up. So I want to just play a quick clip of certain people in the NFL media world talk about him and some highlights. And let's do it.
McDonald the fourth from Iowa State. Long praying mantis. That's who he is.
So you think about this kid off the edge.
Never loses a physical battle. He's phenomenal at getting off blocks.
Another sack for Will McDonald.
He's an elite athlete who can do backflips, standing still in his videos, jumping over cars.
It's Will McDonald the fourth.
Got a rip move, a spin move.
I love strip sacks. This kid, that's all he does.
It's length and athleticism. That's where he's really special.
So based off that video, Jack, what do you take away from what they had to say about him? And listen, we know that it's the NFL draft, and you can't go out there on a limb and say this guy's going to be a stud or this guy's going to be a bust, because Guess what? We have no idea what's going to happen. We have to let the process play itself out. But at this time, the day after the NFL draft, it's a time to evaluate the strengths and the weaknesses. So based off that video, Jack, obviously that was a lot of hype about him. But what was your biggest takeaways from that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll say that, the majority of this offseason, at least the last, 6-7 weeks, has been fully Aaron Rodgers' world. So, this pick definitely caught a lot of Jets fans off guard for good reason, because this year, more so than other years, we weren't fully, I mean, some people always are, but the majority of the fan base wasn't fully invested in the draft like we always are come Halloween, most shitty seasons that we play. So this pick was definitely a surprise. But then when you look at tape like that, you see athleticism, a nose for the football, finesse, speed. I mean, everything you want in a dynamic edge rusher. Yes, you could say he's a little undersized in terms of his weight. There's no reason why he can't, spend the next couple months bulking up, maybe add 10, 15 pounds on. Who knows? Who knows how they want to use him in this rotation of guys that includes, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, and now Will McDonald. Like you said, Rich, you can never have enough closers. You can never have enough speedsters and enough talent and enough depth at the premier position that the edge rusher has become these days in the NFL. With the premier guys getting paid a lot of money, and being absolutely game-breaking type of game-changing playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So I think Will McDonald has sky-high potential. I love the fact that he's going to be coached up by Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh and
White cotton.
You'll see it right here. He, dominated the league competition in the Senior Bowl.
And that's another thing. He stood out in the Senior Bowl. Like, this is him going up against Darnell Wright, who a lot of Jets fans wanted, and the Jets did not have a chance to get him. I wanted Darnell Wright as well, but he just went 10th overall to the Chicago Bears. This is him at the Senior Bowl. And this isn't just like, oh, yeah, we'll show everything else. Every single scout at the Senior Bowl, including Jim Nagy, said, like, wow, if there was one player that stood out at the defensive line, it was Will McDonald at the Senior Bowl. And your stock rises. If you go to the Senior Bowl and dominate, especially in the trenches, these one-on-one abilities, I mean, he has that spin move, he has the riff move, he has a lot of qualities to this game that things. And listen, man, again, I don't want to make it seem like we're just going to talk about all the positives, because there are some things to his game, like strength, that he needs to fix. There are some games that he needs to put more power to translate to the NFL game. But the Jets feel like they're going with their ability of doing what this defensive line does best, and that's going after the damn quarterback. You feel me?
I totally feel you, man. And I guys, we're 1 year removed from the greatest, Jets draft that we've ever seen, in franchise history. And, after one pick in this draft that you can definitely call, questionable, I guess, it seems like so many people are ready to, hang Joe Douglas. And it kind of makes me crazy, man. I mean, these guys clearly have a plan where we, picked up Alan Lazard. We got Mecole Hardman. Corey Davis is sticking around. Garrett Wilson is coming off a freaking offensive rookie of the year rookie season. I don't think wide receiver is as big of a need as, people might have thought it was. I understand that, a great player was available for us, but, I don't think he was, on the Jets' radar like some people hoped he was. Clearly they were going, the offensive tackles were gone. Clearly McDonald was up next on their board. One thing I've noticed that they're big Senior Bowl guys. They keep a close eye on the Senior Bowl, it seems. And this is another guy who showed out at the Senior Bowl, similar to Jermaine Johnson last year. And hopefully he can put in that work, man. I'm not going to, sit here and say anything negative about this pick. We haven't seen this guy play a single down in the NFL. We haven't really seen anything from this guy in terms of playing at the next level. So, I'm happy, man. I trust in Joe Douglas's vision. He's done a great job at drafting so far as our general manager. And I like it, man. I think this guy has sky-high potential. And it's just funny how, the only people that are really saying bad things about it are fans. And, all the people that are paid millions of dollars to talk about, draft prospects think that this guy's a home run hitter. So
yeah. Listen to this.
It out.
Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl, expert who runs the whole show, he said this 3 or 4 days ago. This is from a defensive line coach. He played as a true 5 technique, balled out, and then they isolated him on guards, and he wasn't scared to go in. He's probably the most twitchy guy in the whole defensive line group. You cannot teach that kind of bend. He's very much like Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns. I think he's really good. He's a 6'4", 250 guy, but his movement ability is elite. He can really bend. He's not as powerful or long as Brian Burns, but he's got the same kind of bend. At the Senior Bowl, they did not block him the whole week. So again, he just went out to the Senior Bowl and completely balled out. And to the fact that people are saying like, yeah, but this guy's not even going to start. Guys, listen, it's a good thing that this Jets team is so deep at this position. And the Jets like the philosophy of having a rotation. And also, the narrative that people are saying that it was a panic pick, I do not believe that at all, a panic pick. The New York Jets go with their board, and they said, and listen, we have to talk about the elephant in the room real quick. The Patriots screwed the Jets over, right? Let's not forget about that. Broderick Jones would be a New York Jet right now if the New England Patriots did not trade back and the Pittsburgh Steelers traded right above us to take the last tackle available. I think we can all agree that if Broderick Jones was available at 15, he was above Will McDonald on their board. That's my prediction. I could be completely wrong. But there's no offensive lineman on the board. So the Jets did what the board told them to do, and Will McDonald was the next best guy on their board. That's not a panic pick. That's trusting their board. If you watch Joe Douglas speak to the media, he's very excited about that. And with that being said, let's hear from Joe Douglas.
Tell me what you saw in Will McDonald. How excited were you that he's now a Jet?
Yeah, I mean, there's some elite traits to work with Will. Start with the length, start with the takeoff, start with the bend, agility, burst, ability to get to the quarterback and get the ball out once he does get to the quarterback. So those things jump out first. And it was on full display when we went down to Mobile this year, and you see the spin move, you see the speed rush. So I think that he has all the tools to make an impact on this defense.
So obviously, Joe Douglas is going to speak highly of him, and he's very excited to bring him in. So the fact that people are saying it's a panic pick, I'm not buying that.
Does that look like a man who's panicked, first of all, before we get to Chencho? Appreciate you, Chencho. Does that look like a man who's panicked? That looks like a man who's cool, calm, and collected, who has a smirk on his face, who knows that his team is about to eat this year.
Facts.
So everybody's freaking out as if we didn't just get, a Hall of Fame quarterback. We're good. We're good. I'm so happy with where this team is at right now.
Jetcher says, Jack's positive this year after last year's first round. I like it. Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Jack,
you already know, baby.
If you guys that know Jack, he's a positive man right now. It's a good thing. It's a good sign, baby.
It's not often, but
it's not often that our guy Jack is positive. He's a different man. Thank you, Chencho, for the $5 super chat, my friend. We really do appreciate that. But in all seriousness, Jack, I think that, this move for the New York Jets really tells us that they are committed to getting to the quarterback. And if anybody knows the Robert Saleh system, it all starts with pass rush. So I understand that people are upset with this picks for some reason, but you got to think it from the perspective of if they want closers, the way that you close games out is getting to the quarterback. And what Will McDonald does, he has a knack of knocking the football out. And do I have to give you a stat? He is the Big 12 leader in sack totals of all time with 34 career sacks. Do you know whose record he broke, Jack? Von Miller.
Von Miller, baby. Wow.
Von Miller's. So he holds the Big 12 sack record with 34 career sacks in college. He beat Von Miller's, which was 33 sacks. He had a career seasons. He's a freakishly athletic guy that the Jets feel like in their system they're going to unlock. Look what they did with Bryce Huff, who was an undrafted free agent, bro. Michael Clemens, who was a fourth-round pick, looked like a dog. We still got Jermaine Johnson. We need to get to the damn quarterback. Without getting to the quarterback consistently, the defense is not going to be as good. The defensive line getting to the quarterback makes Sauce Gardner's job 10 times easier. So, I get that it's not the flashy. And listen, I wanted a wide receiver. I wanted JSN, and I admit all that. And I was shocked with this pick. But if you really evaluate this pick with terms of the philosophy of the New York Jets system, it makes sense. James with a $10 super chat. What's up, man? Says Saleh had a similar player in Seattle. Bruce Irvin played strong side linebacker on rundowns and kicked down to edge on pass downs. He also acquired D Ford in his first years in San Francisco as a stand-up edge. Facts. I mean, if you look at what the Seattle Seahawks have done at that tenure with the Legion of Boom when Saleh was there, you look at what the San Francisco 49ers are doing right now. They are not stopping building through the trenches. Even look at what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. Even though that Saleh has no ties with them, they just drafted 2 defensive linemen. They killed the draft, by the way. Jalen Carter.
Scary, dude.
Bro, I mean, they got 2 defensive linemen, both from Georgia, Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. 2 defensive linemen. I mean, it starts at the line of scrimmage, and the fact that people think the Jets panicked because all 4 offensive tackles were, it would be a different story. If Broderick Jones or one of the 4 offensive tackles was available and the Jets took Will McDonald, I think I'd have a different approach to this. Like, damn, I don't know, offensive tackle, we want to protect Aaron Rodgers. But the fact is, Jack, there wasn't an offensive lineman available. So that's why I don't get, where do you want the Jets to go here? And I know that nobody mocked the Jets to get him. No one expected it. But where did you want them to go? If there's no, offensive lineman is where I wanted the Jets to go, but there wasn't anyone to draft.
Exactly. I mean, I can understand, the argument. The only argument I can understand is trading down. I can't understand
apparently, according to Connor Hughes and all the reporters, is that they were getting calls of trading down, and there was no one that was willing, that there was no package that they felt comfortable trading down for. There wasn't a guy, and they said, you know what, we prefer to stay here and take Will McDonald than moving back, and that's what they said.
Obviously, they didn't take Will McDonald on a whim. Obviously, Will McDonald was high up on their board. Obviously, all the offensive tackles are gone. Yes, New England screwed us over. But it is what it is, man. That's the name of the game. That's the draft. That's how it goes. So, the fact that we were able to take a guy clearly high up on our board, clearly with lots of potential, lots of upside, I'm excited, man. And, I'm not going to spend energy. I mean, it really is, baffling. In the amazing, incredible week we've had as Jets fans, there are people spending negative energy to get upset about a pick like this. Couldn't be me, man. Couldn't be me. I'm stoked. I'm excited. Until, Will McDonald sucks, and I don't think that's going to happen, you can't be upset at this pick, I don't think.
Bro, give me Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald for the next 5 years plus.
What's wrong with potentially having drafted 2 of, both of our bookend edge rushers for the future, year after year? Who knows how it's going to, pan out?
And Carl Lawson is not here long term.
No.
We just, and I don't know, man. And listen, it's hard to really talk about draft picks. And I also think a reason why Jets fans are upset is because we're coming off one of the most historic draft classes ever last year. And we were on top of the world at this point last season, right? When we drafted Sauce, we drafted Garrett, we traded up for Jermaine. We're like the talk of the league. The Jets won the draft. The Jets drafted everybody that everybody wanted. And now you fast forward to this year, that's not the case. The Jets drafted somebody that I don't think maybe 1% of Jets fans wanted. So that's why I think the fan base is up in arms, because we're used to doing all of our homework. We're doing our own mock drafts all week long, leading up to the draft. We're trying to predict it, and you get a little upset. What? I didn't have the Jets taking him, so he sucks. I don't know. I trust Joe Douglas and their mindsets over anybody else on Twitter personally. And listen, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a guarantee that this man's going to pan out. But I just invite you guys to open your minds a little bit to the fact that even if you did not know who he was, do some research. I mean, all the draft experts have this guy as one of the top edge rushers in the class over guys that went ahead of him, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And, I also feel like we're kind of, back to reality a little bit. Not, we're not going to get 3 first-round picks every year. Last year was an incredible once-in-a-lifetime draft, basically 4 firsts if you include Breece Hall, who's certainly a first-round talent. This is the reality of when you're an average team, becoming a good team, hopefully this year becoming an elite team, drafting in the middle of the pack, pick 13 originally, swapped it to pick 15, right in the middle of the pack. This is what happens, We knew we weren't coming out of this draft with a draft like last year. I understand that this isn't a player that was on anyone's mind. But I certainly did not think the Jets were going to draft Sauce Gardner 4th overall last year. I'm damn happy that they did. I didn't think we were going receiver as high as, we did. I'm damn happy that we did. So who knows? Give it time. This might become another situation where we go, holy shit, Joe Douglas got one, and I think it will be. And
you know what's funny, guys? I was shocked. Look at Look at my face when we drafted him. I was like, what? You know, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I wasn't absolutely shocked like every single Jets fan. I just didn't expect the pick. But when you sit back and you do research like I have been doing since we did the draft pick, it kind of starts to, you know, make sense in terms of the philosophy of what the New York Jets are doing here. And again, you guys have every right to be upset. We're not going to sit here and try to spin you guys into, you know, oh, everything the Jets do is good narrative. That's not true. The Jets have to prove that this was a good pick, and the Jets' defensive line is one of the deepest in the league. And if you also look at it from the perspective of who's in our division, Josh Allen, you know, Josh Allen is a quarterback that loves to scramble. What did Jermaine Johnson do last year? Well, he contained that man in the pocket and sacked him when he tried to bend around the edge. Well, Will McDonald is that same type of athletic ability where if Josh Allen breaks out of the pocket, Will McDonald is going to chase that man down and not allow him to get that edge and start picking up yards after the line of scrimmage. And we got Mac Jones, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure Will McDonald beat up on in college. You know, Will McDonald is a guy that loves to get the ball. I saw someone talk about Will McDonald that I kind of like. One of his traits that's really making me get excited about him is he has a knack of knocking the ball out. And folks, what was the biggest issue? If there was an issue with the Jets defense last year, which was not a lot, by the way, what was it? Takeaways, right? We needed to start forcing turnovers. Will McDonald has a knack for the football. When the blocker is in his face and he's trying to shed off the block, he's not just one-on-one zeroing in on, oh, I need to get off this block. His eyes are on the ball. His eyes are looking over the blocker so he can go where the ball's going. And he has one of the best abilities you'll see of shedding blocks because of his long-ass arms. His arms are so long where he just jabs him, a little riff move, spins off of him, and we'll see what he can do because his physicality can translate into the NFL. And you just got to, I'm excited for the perspective of seeing what the Jets defensive line coaches and the defensive coaching staff has done with guys like Michael Clemens already and Bryce Huff. Like, can you imagine what a guy like Will McDonald can do that draft experts had high on their draft boards at the edge rushers? But you know what? Jets fans that do mock drafts, they know better. So what am I saying?
Yeah, and you know what? Call me crazy, but I love the idea of speed and finesse off the edge and raw power up the middle. We got the best defensive tackle in football in Quinnen Williams plugging up the middle. You know, what's wrong with adding just pure speed and finesse, and not just pure speed and finesse, but the rip move, the swim move, the spin move, you know, from a guy like Will McDonald. And yes, if Will McDonald could gain, you know, 15, maybe 20 pounds, that would be sick. But, I mean, who really gives a shit? Honestly, at the end of the day, if this guy's able to make plays, I don't care if he's 236 pounds or if he's, you know, 260 pounds. He looks like a playmaker. He did it with a great program at Iowa State, a program on the rise. Let's not forget we interviewed Matt Campbell for our own head coaching job before hiring Robert Saleh. So he comes from a good program. We got Breece Hall, Alan Lazard on the squad who are also, you know, Iowa State guys. I like the pick a lot. I think it's, you know, sky-high potential. I think, you know, being coached up by Robert Saleh is just going to, you know, do nothing but help this young man. And I think he's going to be a beast. I really do.
Folks, if you're enjoying the show right now, whether you like the pick or don't like the pick, I would greatly appreciate if you guys can simply hit that thumbs up button. We got 238 people right now with just over 50 likes. So, guys, smash that like button because it's the draft season, baby. We got another draft pick tonight at pick 43. So it's exciting time. Jack, I want to get your thoughts of, you know, some people are upset with the pick because he's not going to get a lot of playing time because the Jets run a deep rotation where he's going to play like 20-25% of the snaps. What's your take of the Jets defensive line rotation where they suit up 10 guys and they like to have fresh legs and they like to make sure that they're not wear and tear in the body so each person's fresh for the fourth quarter, so when it comes to closing time, anybody that's on the field is ready to go get to the quarterback. So what's your thoughts of the New York Jets defensive line rotation and the fact that we invested a 15th overall pick in a guy that might not be getting, like, you know, a lot of playing time as a rookie?
My thoughts are that, you know, it's pretty simple, man. We had an elite defense last year, and we just added another piece to make it even better. I mean, it's really that simple. People are overthinking this, you know, and it's kind of crazy to me. I think that, you know, Quinnen Williams made it very clear, trust the four-man rush. That means that you're going to be rotating guys in and out a lot. You can't be rocking with the same four guys for the entire game. Those guys are going to be burnt out come the fourth quarter. Obviously, we want a guy like Quinnen Williams out there as much as he can be. But, you know, adding a rotational piece like McDonald, who's going to continue to develop, I think it's going to work wonders for this defensive line. And who knows, man? Maybe he's just going to show up to camp and just be better than everybody. Who freaking knows? We know nothing about this guy. So there's no reason to spend, energy hating on this guy when he could easily become a great player just as easily as he could, be a quote unquote bust. Who knows? No one freaking knows. So I think it's a great move, adding depth to a premier position that clearly is, the focal point of this defense is, pressuring the quarterback. I think it's a solid move. And I understand that he wasn't on anyone's mock drafts. I understand that it's not the sexy pick. JSN would have been the, sexy pick, whatever. I'm totally cool with the Jets taking a guy that was clearly high on their board after all the offensive tackles were taken. I like it. I think he can be a beast. I think he can, make an impact from day one, obviously as a rotational guy. But, I think he can absolutely be a stud for the Jets defense, 100%.
Talk about your journey at Iowa State, and also just what are you going to bring to the Jets?
Hear the audio. Is he even talking yet?
I mean, I'm going to bring everything that I can.
Hear what he's saying?
Whether it's playing special teams, being a role player, just doing whatever I got to do. A lot of things I learned, at Iowa State. A lot of discipline, a lot of poise, learning on making the right decisions, being around good teammates, and just following the pack, just doing whatever I can do to help anybody around me.
Talk about
another thing about him, Jack, that he is like freakishly athletic, and people are comparing him to a Randy Gregory, Brian Burns type.
Dude, he's a freak athlete. I mean, he's got videos of him dunking. He's got videos of him jumping over cars. I know that's all fun and games, and it doesn't mean much at the end of the day. But why hate on this guy? Why show this guy that there's any, hesitation from the fan base after the week we've just had? Why can't we as a fan base just get behind a young player that clearly our general manager and our head coach are in love with, all the draft analysts are in love with? I don't understand, man. I don't understand.
I agree, man. Like, this is a time that Jets fans, like, we just got Aaron Rodgers. The vibes are high all week long. And, like let's root for the guy. Like, whether you are not in favor of the pick and you didn't expect it or not, like, all right, maybe I didn't like Will McDonald, but let's go, Will. I want this man to be the guy. Like, I don't know why everyone's hating on him. Why are you bringing that negative energy to this team? Like, this is the time where we're going all in for, a playoff run. So let's get behind our guy and let's root for Will McDonald instead of bringing the vibes down. So let's see this rep right here from Will McDonald, number 9 right here on the edge. What do you see here, Jack? He's right here, going on number 70.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that bend.
Elite bend and just quickness off the line. And he kind of skirted right around that guy, man. And, great balance, keeping himself upright while holding the lineman off with his left hand. His left arm is fully extended, holding off a big-ass dude right there and, making a play. So tell me what's bad about that, Jets fans.
We'll make it a little bigger. This is just a small example of what he will bring. And I like
around the edge.
He doesn't go, wide. What makes the game, the edge rushers translate to the NFL is he going to be able to use this leverage to cut inside and kind of get a sharp turn, that bend to get to the quarterback? Because sometimes offensive linemen, when they're weak, going up against an edge rusher that's not as powerful as a Will McDonald, they're kind of push him out over here and not get that elite bend. But what he does is he gets the leverage, he dips that left shoulder, kind of has that left arm hooked over him, so the offensive lineman loses all the leverage, and he just completely bends the corner and brings him down.
I love it. I'll also take a block in the back if he gets pushed out wide like that, because that was almost that was another inch or two away from being a block in the back anyway. But listen, man, I mean, as I've said multiple times, I'm not going to spend any negative energy saying bad things about this kid.
Great combination. Excited to add Will to the team. Feel like he's one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic pass rushers in this draft. Great combination of skill and production and athleticism. I think it was on full display at the Senior Bowl and all throughout his career name. So fired up to add him to a strong unit and keep adding to the line of scrimmage. Excited to add Will to the team.
So it's obvious that Douglas is happy about it.
That doesn't look like a man who's panicked.
Not at all. Checho, we are good enough to now draft luxury, not need. That's another thing about this. Guys, we just drafted a player at our most strongest position. Let that sink in. And I know that, at the draft, okay, maybe you want to address your weaknesses, but the New York Jets, instead of drafting a weakness, which is offensive tackle, and they couldn't go offensive tackle, so it's not like they made a mistake on that front. But they drafted at a position that they're stacked at, and they want to get even more stacked because they believe that's one of the most important positions on the team. You can argue in the Jets' philosophy that's the most important position on the team besides quarterback is an edge rusher.
I mean, this is gonna piss some people off, and I still definitely want to go grab an offensive tackle. But you can also make an argument that we have our tackles already between Fant and Becton and Max Mitchell, and I know that's saying a lot.
You mean Brown? A lot. You mean Brown?
Yeah, Brown. I know that's saying a lot. I know Becton is still the biggest question mark in the world, but who knows? That's all I'll say.
No, it's true. It is true, and I think they're still going to get a tackle. And don't forget, bro, Max Mitchell that we're excited about, he was a 4th-round pick. So don't sleep on the Jets getting another tackle, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, that could come out there and plug in if we need him to. Covered in Sauce with a $5 super chat. Want to read this one, Jack?
Living in Iowa, I've seen a lot of old McDonald. This isn't a bad pick, but I think we should have gotten Canty. Will equals Gregory. Canty equals Aaron Donald. All right, so this is an Iowa native who's obviously very very familiar with Iowa State football, I would assume. Covered in Sauce. Appreciate the donation. Yeah, I mean, this is, one of those things where it's obviously just a preference thing. I guess you could say that, the only thing to really say is clearly the Jets liked McDonald more than they liked Canty.
Yeah, I mean, Kalijah Canty was definitely someone I was high on. Because we do have a hole at defensive tackle inside. But the Jets obviously had old McDonald over him. James with a $5 super chat. We haven't re-signed a first-round pick since Wilkerson, but we're freaking out that the guy is 24 years old instead of 22. Make it make sense. All right, let's talk about that, Jack. Some people are upset that he's 24 years old. I think that's overblown. Give me somebody at this stage of this Jets team that's like older and kind of more mature where we're not worrying about them developing. We needed someone that can come out there and plug in and like perform as a rookie, right? Like
all of a sudden we're in this I mean, it's the greatest thing in life, but it's also terrifying that all of a sudden we're in this like scary win now window. So, I'm on board with drafting guys who are ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with I don't get that narrative. I mean, I guess if you're looking at it from like a long-term perspective, but guess what, guys? We kind of are in a short window to win. So I don't want a project. I don't want a 21-year-old, 22-year-old player right now in the draft that we're like, all right. And also, like, this is where it drives me crazy because people just forget that this team is just freaking stacked with young talent as it is. Do I got to tell you the ages of Sauce Gardner, the age of Garrett Wilson, the age of Breece Hall, the age of Elijah Vera Tucker, the age of Mekhi Becton? So why are we complaining about a 24-year-old guy because he's 2 years older than 22? What the hell's the difference? Yeah. Give me someone that's ready to go right now. Let's go.
And how many guys, just to, play devil's advocate, how many guys are drafted at 21 that suck?
Yeah, I mean,
so
we're lucky because Breece is like 21, 22. Garrett Wilson's 21, 22. Like, it's not like that's what I don't get, where people are like kind of making it seem like we don't already have a plethora of youth of this team. Like, do you not understand what happened last year?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. We're on the same page with this.
I don't want a project at this stage. Maybe in the long term, you could see it from that perspective, but the Jets are doubling down at the position of their strength.
And it's not like, we can't get an offensive lineman tonight or tomorrow and address, the rest of our needs tonight and tomorrow. We have a lot of draft to go, guys. This is, I mean, not every, I mean, you can go down a long list of people that have become incredibly successful players in the NFL that were not first-round picks. So, I'm not worried in the slightest.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bring up a list of the best players available for tonight. Where can I find that? Let's see. Second round. Because, guys, the Jets got another pick tonight. And who will they go? I mean, I know Brian Branch is a guy that Jets fans are like, ooh, Brian Branch is safety. I don't know if he's going to get it. Remember, we have pick 43. So that's pick 11 tonight, if I did my math correctly. Brian Branch is a safety, Jack. Would you feel comfortable? And he's probably one of the best safeties, if not the best safeties in a draft. How would you feel with the Jets going Branch at 43 if he's available?
I wouldn't mind it, man. I mean, I'm not going to front as if I've done, all my, painstaking draft research this year, because I have not, as I feel like a lot of Jets fans have not. So I'm fully on board with trusting Joe Douglas's vision. If we wanted to, we just got Chuck Clark from the Ravens, obviously, if we want to draft another safety and just, really round out our secondary, I don't see a problem with that at all. Obviously, the big, point of contention on everyone's mind tonight is O-line. But, we'll see, man. I think Joe Douglas has a vision. They did not see Will McDonald as a reach whatsoever. Otherwise, they would not have taken him where they did. So, the options are endless tonight. I mean, nobody expected us to take Will McDonald yesterday. So who the hell knows who we're going to grab tonight? But I would not be opposed to taking a safety. Obviously, I would love if we grabbed an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, DeJuan Jones is the offensive lineman that we would be looking for, Jack. But he's kind of like another Mekhi. He's 6'8", another offensive tackle from Ohio State, and he's 21 years old. 6'8", 359. Offensive tackle from Ohio State. So if the Jets want to go offensive tackle, if he's still available, that could be the pick.
Listen, man, I mean, Mekhi also, we don't have Greg Van Roten anymore to fall on the back of Mekhi's knee either. So not all big players are going to, have the bad luck that Mekhi has had. But I get what you're saying. Obviously, you have to make the comparison sort of.
Bluto with the $5 super chat. Did New England really screw the Jets? They need offensive line too and passed on Jones. I think Jones is a project and wasn't rated as high by a lot of teams. So, yeah, there is a narrative that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots screwed us over because everybody knew that the Jets wanted offensive linemen, and everyone knew if they wanted an offensive lineman, they had to go above the Jets. And what the Patriots did is they traded back, and then they took a corner. So, the Patriots decided not to get a tackle, and they wanted to move back. And and then the other narrative, Jack, is that, the Jets included that pick swap with the Packers, kind of screwed us over because if we stayed at 13, we could have got our offensive lineman and not been at 15 and got Will McDonald.
Did we get Aaron Rodgers or did we not get Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not complaining. If that was the deciding factor for Aaron Rodgers, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, man. I mean, come on.
Wait, I lost my train of thought. I was about to say something.
The Jets have had one quarterback that has thrown for, I think, 30 plus, or some stat they put up last night. Nobody has been nearly as effective as a quarterback since Joe Namath. And that's, going back 50 plus years, does it even, you ask yourself, does it even really count? Can we even take that seriously? So, whatever it takes to bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. I'm in.
Louis says, if they go wide receiver tonight, who are potential targets? Jalen Hyatt still available. Last night we had 4 receivers go back to back to back to back, which was pretty cool. But, they could go wide receiver, but I don't know. I think other prospects to keep in mind, Keanu Benton, defensive tackle. Jack, there is a position that the Jets kind of did a lot of homework on in this draft class. And it's one of the best draft classes at this position, but it's kind of a position that we don't feel like we need. And I want to get your thoughts. There's a man named Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, tight end.
I was just going to say,
still available.
Are you talking about tight end? I had a feeling you were talking about tight end.
I am talking about tight end. Now, Michael Mayer is still available. He's a complete tight end. People are saying that he is like just an all-around, can do it all, block, catch. How would you feel if the Jets go tight end in second round? Because that will be another pick where they're like, all right, we have Conklin, we have Uzama, we have Ruckert, but some people want Michael Mayer on the Jets, and the Jets did a lot of homework on it, which is why people are kind of connecting the dots. So how would you feel if they go tight end tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it would be a little bit of a head scratching move for me personally, just because I don't think we saw nearly enough of the tight ends that we already have on this roster last year. I thought the tight ends were going to be a much bigger part of the offense, and obviously we had no quarterback. But I'm kind of in the camp of I like Uzoma a lot. I think he was underused in the passing game. I think Tyler Conklin can have a much better season this year than he had last year. And the fact of the matter is, we did just draft Jeremy Ruckert. So again, I'm not going to say that I would be against, anything that Joe Douglas wants to do. I'm all in on JD's vision after he hit an absolute home run out of the park last year. But it would be.
Yeah, it would be a head scratcher. I mean,
it would be
not
weird.
A head scratcher, but like it kind of reminds me of last year. Remember the second round, Breece Hall? Like we didn't really look at running back as a need to the point where, yeah, let's go get the best running back in the draft. And we're all happy we did. But, Michael Mayer's there. It'll be interesting. Other wide receivers to look out for. Josh Downs at a UNC if they want to go receiver. If they want to get a center, because, Jack, we re-signed Connor McGovern. I don't know if you saw the contract, but we're giving Connor McGovern backup money. Like, he's getting paid $1 million this year. Like, after coming off a contract with the Jets for 3 years, getting paid $9 million. So, how would you feel with the Jets potentially going center tonight to get the successor of Connor McGovern, like a John Michael Schmitz or one of the best centers available at 43, instead of an offensive tackle?
That would be cool, man. John Michael Schmitz, another name I've been hearing for a long time. One of the few names I even know in this draft is Steve Avila at center as well. So
Joe Tippmann. I mean, there's still a lot of guys available.
We'll see, man. I mean, I would not be opposed to that at all. I mean, Connor McGovern is also a guy that's played, guard before as well. So who knows what's going to happen with that? I think everything after what we saw last night, dude, everything is on the table for tonight.
Yeah, expect the unexpected. I think that's what we have to keep in mind, right? And that's what I said. Like when the Jets were on the clock, I was like, guys, expect the unexpected. I just have a feeling that it's not going to be someone that we all want. And at the time on the clock, I was like, all right, well, it's not an offensive tackle, so who the hell else would it be besides JSN or Kalijah Cansey? And it was neither of them. And we'll see, man.
Yeah.
And if you look at, I just posted on Twitter this, asking my followers who they want. So let's see what the Jets fans want. Keanu Benton, best player available, how they would do it. Maybe a linebacker, free safety, or offensive line. A big offensive lineman, says John. John Michael Schmitz, Branch, or Josh Downs. That's a center, safety, or wide receiver. Josh Downs. Some people are looking at Josh Downs as a potential target at wide receiver. Offensive tackle, DeJuan Jones. So it seems like the Jets fans are united where either offensive lineman in DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. If Branch is available, he's kind of too hard to pass up on. But I don't think he's going to be available because it's not like we pick in the first 5 picks tonight. Some people really want Josh Downs and Brian Branch. So that's what the consensus. Ooh, someone wants Mayer, the tight end. So amongst these little section of Jets fans, it seems like the consensus is Brian Branch if he's available, which probably he won't be. An offensive lineman, tight end somehow, center, offensive line. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, anything's on the table. I think drafting a tight end probably scares me the most, and I find that pretty unlikely. But no one thought they were going to draft Will McDonald last night, and I'm on board with that. So who knows, man? If that pick comes in and it's Michael Mayer, welcome to the damn squad, baby.
That is true. Tonight's going to be a big night for the New York Jets for a lot of different reasons, man, because they got to make sure that they add to this team. They could trade back. They could trade up. Don't sleep on the New York Jets doing their thing because we just got Will Old McDonald. So, guys, if you're joining the show right now, do your boy a solid favor. We got over 330 people watching right now. Hit that thumbs up button. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. We're fresh off the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Will McDonald is the newest member of the New York Jets. I want to get your guys' thoughts in the chat right now. Any questions you may have regarding Will McDonald, any questions you have regarding Tonight's draft, let us know in the chat.
Give us a letter grade on this pick. I would love to see some letter grades from you guys. I know it's gonna be brutal, but come on, give it to us. Give it to us.
Non-Jets related stuff with the draft. Will Levis is not drafted, so I'm curious to see where he's gonna go. That's another quarterback. And
I saw some videos of him not getting a call that are circulating around Twitter right now.
The Jets just posted a video of Will McDonald being an athletic freak. So let's take a look at this.
Wow. There you go.
Apparently he's a multi-sport athlete. What would you do? Jets fans, what would you do? Will McDonald sacks Josh Allen for the win.
Just and then say that.
And then Will McDonald does this on MetLife Stadium's turf. Oh my God, bro. Like, that would be crazy.
I mean,
that's just funny. I mean, that's not happening, but like,
it's hilarious. But yeah, man. I mean, what an athlete this guy is. So welcome to the team, man.
This one's definitely the most impressive to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's crazy. And obviously this means nothing about your football ability, but it tells you a lot about your athleticism.
Jumping in sand sucks. So that is a hell of an athlete right there.
But in all seriousness, flips don't say anything, dunks don't say anything. All this does is just show. All this shows is athleticism. And when you're athletic freak, and his RAS score, by the way, which is your athletic score, ranked out of 10, is like a 9.82. That shit's crazy. Like that's one of the highest athletic grades you could possibly get. And they do that based on agility tests, your footwork, and all these things. Ray says, I like McDonald. Feel we could have traded back for him and mostly upset how Jones went right before we picked. I do think when he adds weight and comes into our 4-3 system, he could be a deadly with our team. Great point, Ray. It's exactly how I feel, man. That is going to be an adjustment for him, Jack, because he's coming from a system, where he's not really used to being, in a 4-3. So I think that he's going to be able to adjust, especially when he adds weight and gets coached up by Robert Saleh. And for the people that keep saying, like, yeah, but why are we drafting someone at 15 that's not going to start? I don't get that narrative, bro. Like, we have a deep rotation at that defensive line room. Like, did you not see what happened last year with the rotation? Like, what do you want them to do?
Exactly. And, we were pretty lucky in terms of, obviously the offensive line got decimated last year. And I'm certainly not hoping for any injuries this year. But depth at a good position, at a position that we're already good at, is never a bad thing. And I understand it's the first round. Guys, listen, you guys are entitled to your opinions. It's all good. Like, this is the beauty of being having a platform like this to be able to talk to each other. It's all good, man. You don't have to be in love with this pick. But I think to hate on this guy when, we haven't seen anything from him yet, I think that's just a little, I think that's a waste of your energy. And I think that Will McDonald can be an absolute beast. And personally, the scheme thing doesn't matter that much to me. As long as he's one-on-one with an offensive tackle, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree, man. I just don't get the people that just like relentlessly hate on him. Like, why hate on him if he sucks, right? Like, if he goes out there and he's a bust, that's when we can hate on him, right? Like, that's when we can start criticizing the man. And of course, when it comes to the draft, everything's an unknown. And I think a big narrative, again, comes down to the trade with Aaron Rodgers, moving back from 13 to 15 and not being able to get an offensive lineman. I think that's where the frustration with Jets fans are coming from, because we want an offensive lineman to protect Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets were not able to get that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and Rex Hogan and Woody Johnson and the whole crew certainly do not view this as a reach by any means. Otherwise, they would not have done it. So this is clearly a guy that was high on their draft board that they're happy that they got their hands on. And I think he's going to make an impact this year. 100%.
Here's what Mel Kiper had to say about him. Number 15th overall pick, Will McDonald, is going to wreak havoc off the edge for the Jets. The edge rusher had 10 career forced fumbles for Iowa State. He's another one of my favorite prospects in this draft.
I love it, man. I love it.
Nah, you know what? I think I should probably trust Jets fans over Mel Kiper, though.
And obviously, you know, all these draft guys, you know, their job is to, you know, be wrong. You know, obviously these guys are, you know, these guys aren't right 100% of the time. But I mean, to sit here and, you know, it almost seems like, you know, some of you guys are like preying on this guy's downfall. Like, do you not want, you know, to see this guy be successful and to have another, you know, awesome presence coming off the edge? I'm stoked on it, man. I am. And we have more picks to come.
Yeah, man. And look, PFF has him. I think he's the second best edge rusher in this draft. Let's see what other people have to say. Robert RG3. The Jets adding Will McDonald gives his defense more juice off the edge. He rushes like he's hungry and often finds his happy meal. He was also a state champion and had a third-place finish in high jump. So remember, kids, being a multi-sport athlete is a good thing. That's what RG3 had to say.
And what's an offensive tackle going to do if he, you know, sees Carl Lawson on first and second down and then all of a sudden, boom, McDonald.
And again, we mentioned this earlier, but the Jets, Will McDonald, had the most sacks ever in Big 12, ever. He took the record away from Von frickin' Miller. And that's not saying he's going to be the next Von Miller, but I mean, this photo's hilarious, though. Come on. And this is the RIS score that we're talking about.
Casually Googling Will McDonald.
Will McDonald was drafted with the 15th pick in round 1. He scored a 9.66 RS score out of a possible 10. This ranked 56 out of 1,634 defensive ends from 1987 to 2023. What? 56 out of 1,634 prospects. So he ran a 4.740. His vertical was 8.97. His broad, I mean, this is just freakishly athletic stuff.
Man. Wow.
Chris Sims is high on him. Jets take Will McDonald, top 5 defensive football, and they add this guy. He's as long as it gets, maybe the best pound-for-pound strength in the draft. He's Leonard Floyd with better pass rush ability. I highly recommend you guys click this link and get his perspective of him. He really broke it down, and he loves him. He really broke down what he's good at, what he needs to improve on. I know Chris Sims is very polarizing with the draft because people are like, yeah, well, he was high in Zach Wilson. But he has him over Will Anderson, which is interesting. I'll just say that.
That is interesting.
I had to remind Jets fans last night that the Jets have Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback. Just want to remind everyone because I saw a panic. I'm like, guys, we have Rodgers.
I mean, how does that? I mean, what happened to me last night? I was like, oh, cool, Will McDonald. Let me look this guy up. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback. My mind just instantly went back to Aaron Rodgers. Like, how are we spending any negative energy talking about who we drafted last night, no matter who it is, when we landed Aaron mother effing Rodgers as our quarterback just days ago? I'm still on cloud 9 because of that, man. There's absolutely nothing that could bring me down right now.
It's true, bro. It's true. And it seems like Jets Twitter is slowly coming around.
Of course they are, because everybody has their hot takes last night, and then you say, oh, I slept on it, and I'm really excited for Will McDonald. And then, you know, when Will McDonald gets his sack,
and he does a fucking double backflip. He does like a double backflip.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Darnell Wright. Let's see it. What you got? Easy.
Ooh.
And apparently he really excelled at the Senior Bowl. And like you said, Jack, the Jets do like their Senior Bowl prospects.
And Darnell Wright is a big human being, man. So, obviously everything's different at the NFL. I like Darnell Wright. But, who knows how much time may or may not have. He was pretty damn explosive right there. And if putting on 30 pounds of weight takes that speed off, which is like the emphasis of his game, I don't know if I want that. Like I said before, what's wrong with having speed and finesse off the edge combined with raw power up the middle?
Yeah, and also it kind of balances it out because we got Jermaine Johnson, who's more of a power edge rusher.
Yeah.
And we have Michael Clemens as a power edge rusher.
And then we have Bryce Huff and Will McDonald.
Who's more finesse as the
finesse guys, yeah.
Yeah, bro. And I want to play this video more of a big screen. Listen to this. This is more of a hype video for him.
McDonald the fourth from Iowa State. Long praying mantis. That's who he is.
So you think about this kid off the edge.
Never loses a physical battle. He's phenomenal at getting off blocks.
Another sack for Will McDonald.
He's an elite athlete who can do backflips, standing still in his videos, jumping over cars.
It's Will McDonald the fourth.
Got a rip move, a spin move.
I love strip sacks. This kid, that's all he does.
It's length and athleticism. That's where he's really special.
Like, bro, if you don't watch that, and I know that you can kind of hype up any prospect because they always have their highlights, but his spin move, his twitchiness, like his athleticism at that spot is different. Like, it really is. Like, that spin move at the Senior Bowl, seeing it in person in college, I mean, he has that unique little twitchiness that is different at that spot, bro.
Absolutely, man. He really does. You can tell he's just got this kind of natural burst in his game, like just the acceleration off the line of scrimmage. And the combined with the 4.7 40, this is a guy that seems to have both. So seeing too many bad things here.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's someone that also has freakishly long arms. And when you have long arms at that position, you can shed off blocks. And one of his biggest strengths, folks, is shedding blocks. And his eyes stay on the football. So when the offensive lineman's on him, trying to, take him out of the play, he has the ability to keep his eyes up, find the football, whether it's a passing or a run play. And right when he sees the ball, when he can strike, he just extends his arms. I mean, those arms are just freakishly long. A little riff move, get the ball out, punch the ball out. When you have those long arms coming off the edge too, you get ability to create plays and be a playmaker, man. So, I don't know, man. I'm excited with this pick. I think the New York Jets, they trusted their board. They didn't panic. They saw that all their offensive linemen were gone, and they took their best player available, and that's all you could do as a Jets general manager with Joe Douglas is you don't panic. Unfortunately, the offensive lineman wasn't there, and we'll see what they do tonight at pick number 43. So, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know that it's been a long night, a long morning for some Jets fans trying to, wrap their head around this. Again, Jack and I are not going to try to sit here and convince you otherwise because the only person that can convince you is Will McDonald himself. So hopefully the Jets can really get him out there. And for all we know, he could be a bust. For all we know, he could be a star. And that's the beautiful thing of the NFL draft. They're lottery picks. We don't know what's going to happen. So I just invite you guys to just throw some positive energy out there for Will. Support him. Root for him, man. He's our guy now. He's a New York Jet now. Like, root for him. He's our newest draft pick. You feel me? Like, let's get hype for him instead of shutting him down and say, oh, the Jets should have went there, Jets should have went there, screw this guy. Like, he's our new guy. He said that he wants to be in the Hall of Fame. He's shooting for the stars, as he should as a young player, getting drafted in the first round. And I'm excited, man. I think this Jets defense got a whole lot better.
Me too, man. I couldn't agree more with everything you said. Very well said. The only person that can prove you guys wrong is obviously Will McDonald himself with his play on the field. And it's going to be a while before we get to see that, obviously. So, all I can say is root for this guy. Don't hate on this guy. We haven't seen him do anything in a Jets uniform yet. His potential is sky high. Clearly, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and the rest of the Jets brass are all in on this guy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him 15th overall. Welcome to the team, Will McDonald, man. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see how they use him, when they use him. I'm just super excited. And Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. And we're about to go to the damn Super Bowl, and Will McDonald's going to get the game-winning sack.
And then
I could dream.
And then bust a McTwist on the 50-yard line.
And then he's going to do a McTwist, and we're all going to – that's a good nickname. I want to make a T-shirt, McTwist, and him just, flying in midair.
Yeah.
I know numbers don't really matter that much, but if Quan Alexander is not back, I like him in rocking number 9. That's kind of fresh. Off the edge.
That is fresh.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up the show here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smash that thumbs up button if you did not already on your way out of the show. Let's get this to 200 likes by the end of the stream, man. Thank you all for tuning in, and I appreciate all the support of the channel. I appreciate all the opinions coming in, whether you like the pick, whether you don't like the pick. We love to get your guys' opinions in the chat. That's what this channel's all about. Whether you agree or disagree with us, that's totally okay. We love you all. I'll be live tonight on Bleacher Report and on the YouTube channel of Jets Media. Also be live on the AFC East Roundtable. So there's a lot of fun things happening tonight. NFL Draft rounds 2 and 3. And the Jets got 1 pick tonight. Unless they trade back and get another pick, we'll find out. That wraps it up. Oh, we got a super chat. Will McDonald will be Defensive Rookie of the Year, boys. I trust JD. Let's go, baby. We appreciate the donation.
Appreciate you, brother. Let's go.
Let's go, Jets, everybody. I'll see you guys tonight. Peace out.
Peace out, everybody.